Hi, everybody. It's Diane Neto living in Barrie. And today I'm going to talk about the new Canadian Renters Bill of Rights. Believe it or not, it has come to this. So if you like my stuff, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and you'll get my stuff right away. Or drop me a comment if there's something you want me to talk about. This I find very, very interesting. I'm going to share the screen with you. I think it's crazy. I emailed it to myself so we could look at this thing. Here we go. So speaking from Vancouver today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that a Bill of Rights for renters in Canada will be introduced in the upcoming budget 2024. So the Canadian Renters Bill of Rights will require landlords to disclose a clear history of an apartment pricing. This will help newcomers to Canada have a better idea of what they should be paying for rent when they arrive and provide bargaining power for a fair rate. I don't understand what the hell kind of bargaining power you're going to get just because 5 years ago it was rented for $1,500 and today it's worth $2,000 or $1,800. Like, I don't know where that even comes from, because the bargaining power, if someone else is willing to pay $2,000, then where's your bargaining power? And if we have a shortage of housing, then the bargaining power is out the bloody window. That's ridiculous. Okay. The bill will also introduce consequences for renovations or for renovictions. Landlords who evict tenants under the premise they need to renovate a rental property so a family member can move in, but then rent the unit out again, and create a nationwide standard lease agreement, not just the Ontario one. The PMO also says that in future, on-time rent payments will be factored into an individual's credit score. Trudeau says that given the high cost of rent, Canadians deserve credit that they can use when applying for a mortgage. He says he will amend the Canadian Mortgage Charter and call on landlords, banks, credit bureaus, and fintech companies to make sure rental history is taken into account in your credit score. Well, I think that is a good thing, because if you do pay your rent on time all the time and you are a good tenant, right now you get nothing shows that. So that's kind of not a bad thing. But that would also have to mean that everybody is actually claiming the rent, and it wouldn't be people that are off the grid and not even, claiming that they have rental income. So there's holes in everything here. This may make it possible for newcomers to Canada to qualify for mortgages at a lower rate when they're already purchasing their first home. So, okay, that is a joke, because if you have a good credit rating, just paying your rent isn't going to change the credit rating to the degree that all of a sudden you can qualify for a mortgage. If you can qualify for a mortgage, you can qualify for a mortgage. Finally, the government will be launching a $15 million tenant protection fund to provide funding for legal aid organizations that help protect tenants against unfair rent increases, renovictions, or bad landlords. So now we're gonna, as a society, give $15 million to help tenants fight, evictions that are not credible. I don't have a problem with people going after landlords that are doing things the wrong way just to get higher rent. I don't have a problem with any of that part. The fact that we have to pay for it. Right now, if a landlord wants to hear a course in front of the LTB, if they want something brought in front of them, it's $200 or $300 somewhere in there to apply. Where the tenant, I think it's $20. Like, they're already giving a break for tenants to be able to apply. It's almost nothing for them to put to the LTB for a hearing, where the landlord, it's a lot bigger cost. And I don't understand how this $15 million tenant protection fund, like, it's coming out of our money, right? So rents in Canada have reached new highs. According to rentals asking rents for all residential property types in Canada averaged $21.93 in February 2024, a year-over-year increase of 10%. However, it is much higher in Canada's larger and urban centers, with the average price for a one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver costing $26.53 and $24.95 in Toronto. For context, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Canada in March 2021 was $16.85. Newcomers are particularly impacted by the cost of rent when they come to Canada. So in a Statistic Canada data from December 2023 found that 1 in 6 newcomers rents their accommodation. To help lessen the financial strain for all renters in Canada, the federal government introduced other measures throughout 2023 to help Canadians and newcomers afford rent. For example, the Affordable Housing Fund is a $14 billion initiative to support the building of new rental houses and the repair and renewal of existing houses. And they also removed the goods and services tax for developers as an incentive to build more apartment buildings, including student housing and senior residences. So the issue here is, for me, is Trudeau's just trying to get votes, from what I gather. Because first of all, with the LTB and all the new rules and everything that's been going on, everybody's getting out of the rental business, okay? Like they're getting out of it. So instead of dealing with the problem of the high interest, because the landlords, and I have a few of them myself, they can't afford the mortgage payments anymore because the rent doesn't even cover. So if the rent at least covered, they would hold them, but they can't afford. And one of my clients said to me yesterday, and it was perfect. She said, I can't afford to pay for somebody else's family to stay there. If I'm going to do that, I might as well put my own kids in there and pay. Like, I can't subsidize somebody else's family. I can't afford it. So the interest rate has caused a lot of investors to get out of the business because we're paying. I'm not right now, but I was, and I sold mine too, because unfortunately I can't subsidize for you to live there because your rents are so low because you've been there for 5 years and the interest rate goes up. And now, you know, the whole cost of living and the interest rates have is one big factor in why the rental costs have gone up. And the other issue is there's a lack of housing. So of course, supply and demand, it's going to go up. The biggest thing right now is interest rates. So Trudeau's doing all this smoke and mirror shit. So people will vote for him. And the real issue isn't being addressed as usual. So if you want to like my stuff, hit the bell there. See ya.